In this video we're going to start to lay out the animation and maybe build a bit of a set. So I've got my three layers switched on down here. I'm going to click on the rig and come across to this little character up here. The moment it's in rest position, I'll put it back into pose position. So he's gone back into his walk position. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. We'll just scrub along so we can see he walks across there. I'm going to go 7. Have a little look at that. Okay, so I'm going to just close up this window here by grabbing here, and at the top there's a little serrated button, and I'll move the cursor across. You see an arrow appear. I'll let go. That gives me back my default stage. So just scrubbing that again, you can see he just walks a little way along. So I'm going to click on this flat at the bottom. I might just switch those two layers on by holding the shift. And I'm going to put some cuts in this. I'm going to go tab to go into edit on the flat. And I'm going to go Control R. And I'll put 2 cuts in, and I'll slide them over. This will create sort of a road. Moving about here. I'll just grab this cut and move it over so it's not so wide. I'll put a couple of cuts across here, so I'll go Control R, move to the edge, use my wheel to get 2. Left click, I'll slide them down. I want it about where he stops, which I think is about there. I'll just scrub and have a little look. No, so it's about there, so I'll move it up. And I'll grab this one and move it a bit closer. So I'm going to make these a couple of roads. So I'm going to, in face mode, just select those. Just going to rotate to a sort of 45 degree. And make sure that this keyframe button is on, or it'll keyframe what we're doing. I just want to create a curve here and extrude the road down. So I'll go E, just move it down for a curve. I'm going to do this very roughly. You can do it in a lot more detail. So I'll go A and have a look at that, and that's looking okay. I might just put some textures on this so we can start to see it. I'll select this one. In fact, I'm going to put a couple more cuts in here yet. Let's go A. By the way, we've got a face down there that we don't need, and a face at the other end, and likewise down here. Just because we extruded down. Okay. So let's have a look. We'll put some more cuts in. 7. I'm just going for a top view and Control R. Let's get 2 cuts there. Oops. I'll right click so they're positioned, and we'll use the scale tool to just move them across so they're sort of even between those 2. And I'll do the same here. Control. I'm going to zoom out. Oh no, there we go. I'll get 2 of them. I'll left and right click and use the scale tool to get them out. Okay, so I really want to do the same on the top here as well. So let's have a look. We go 7. So Control R. We only want 1 in this case, so I'll just slide it up. Might move it a little bit closer. And I want one across here. Control R. Slide it down. I'm going to try and get these the same. Do one this way as well. Control R. Just moving a bit closer. And I'll do one in here. Control R. So I'm just sort of making an intersection on the street. As I mentioned, you may not see all of it in the animation. Okay, so that's sort of the curves that I was just making. We might just try extruding them up a little bit, just to get another level of detail happening. So just selecting with the Alt key now to get those loops. Okay. So now in fact we don't want these ones here where it goes across the road. Okay, so we're just going to do a very small extrude up and left click just to get a little line happening. Let's put a couple of materials in now. So we're going to put some base materials in. They we'll probably replace them with textures later, but just to give us a guide of how our little set is coming together. So we're coming to the materials here. We've got this ground sort of material we'll leave. Let's go plus and new and assign and call this, we'll make it the road, so let's make it nice and dark, if not black almost. And I'll give it a little bit of gloss. We'll type in here road and we'll go assign. Okay, so let's select this curb, which should be a concrete. We'll just give it sort of a cream colour. So again, I'm going to use the Shift and the Alt key to select in here, deselect these bits on the road. I've actually got to get these, oops, these faces in here as well. Because it should be all cement, all of the curb. Just rotating around so I can see where I haven't got. Zooming in. I'm sure I'll miss some faces. Like in there. Once you put a material on this, you don't have to select it all again when you come to do a texture. So I'm going plus, new, assign, and we'll just make this a grey colour for cement. Put a texture on it later, so we'll go A. Okay, so now I can see now that I wish our little guy was a little bit closer to the curb. So what I can do is just go tab on this whole little road set we're making and move it back a little. And I can move it over this, whoops. I can move it this way as well, so there's a little bit more on the footpath. Okay, so that's the first stage. We can start doing some decoration to it now. Our camera's mainly going to be pointing this way, so this is a film set, so you only do the bits that you need to see. So I'm going to rewind to 0 again, and I need a fence along here. But first I'm just going to just have a look where, so that's where our set is on that layer. Okay, so we don't need our character here while I do this. I'm going to make a little fence. So I'm going to do this as a different object. So I'm just going to left click over here and place in a cube. So I'm going to add mesh cube. This is going to be sort of a picket fence. I'll go tab to go into edit mode. I'll bring that up and I'll scale it to get it thinner. And then I'll grab one of the faces and just pull it up to get it longer. Let's go through. Okay, so we probably want to just make it a bit narrower here. Just going into the scale mode. Now, I want to make this like a picket fence, so I'm just going to go Control R and put a little cut through that way. Left click and right click, and just select the top one, get my grab tool, and just zooming out and zooming in so I can see a little bit better. I just pull that up to give it a spike. Let's just move the whole thing down so it's sitting into our ground. Okay. Now let's we want to add some rungs to it, I think they're called. So we'll add another cube. And we'll just drag it up the top here. Again, I'm just going to scale that down straight away. Come in and get the scale tool. Excuse me. Pull it out like so. And I'm going to have it start flush with this side. Still looks a little bit thick. Let's make it a bit thinner. Let's move it over. I'm in top view by the way here. Okay, it's a bit wide that way, so something like that looks pretty good. let's make it a bit. Actually, it's pretty okay, I think. We'll go back into face mode. I'll just pull it out here a little bit. Make it a little bit longer. Excuse me. I'm going to go L and go Shift D, drag one off, right click, and pull it down. So we've got two of them now. Let's move this one down a little bit. I'm going L just to select those separate parts. Okay, I'll go Tab. So what I've created is just sort of one run of a picket fence. Let's put a material on it. Let's go plus, new, and we'll make it sort of just an off-white. Give it a little bit of gloss, not too much. And then I'm going to go to the Modify tab and come in here and add the Array modifier. Now I'm going to change the offset here. Let's see, I'll go 0 there. Yes, it's this way I want to go, so we'll go -1, -1, and have it come out that way. Then I've got a count here. I can just pull that out. I'll switch on our little guy. Find out where his end position is. Okay, so I want this row to come out to, maybe it would come out to about there. So that's cool. I've got a little fence. Now I can go Shift D, drag another one off. I just right click so it goes back in the same spot. I'll go 7, pull it out, pull it down here. I'm going to go R -90, I think, yes, to rotate it around. And we'll connect the fence up here. Overlap that a little bit more. So this is the start of our little set. On this second one I can select it and make the row go a little longer. That goes to the end of our piece. Now it's looking a little bit high for a picket fence perhaps. So I'm going to just now I see our little guy next to it. I'm just going to scale it down like so, and let's have a look. I did that in the object mode, so I come up here, I can actually see the scale. So 0.5, let's go for 0.5. So I can actually manually type it in here, and that way I can scale the other one as well. Let's extend the count out to about where we want it. Okay, so I'll grab this one and scale it down as well, 0.5. Hit the tab key, it moves down to the next row. You'll have to hit enter on the final one. Okay, so does that still line up okay? Let's go to 7, have a little look. That looks pretty good. Now, it still looks like it's sitting in the ground, so that's sort of looking good. We're getting started there. So let's just extend it out. So it comes back to the end. So that was using the Array tool in the Modifiers tab. And that's sort of a start on our little set there. In the next video we might build a house and put some grass on the sidewalk and on the property as well. See you then.